Hi, this is Terrence with talesfromterrence.com. A business leader taught me that there are two main ways to influence people: motivation and manipulation. Motivation is getting someone to do something for their benefit. Manipulation is getting someone to do something for your benefit. The leader said that motivation comes with a blessing and manipulation comes with a curse. I tend to stay on the motivation side of influence, but it hasn't always been this way. When I was in junior high, my brother and I would occasionally take trips to a mall called Northwest Plaza. It was a nice mall, but it had a bad reputation because of gang violence. However, we loved Northwest Plaza because it had an awesome arcade named Tilt, and Tilt had all the latest games. James was my best friend, and he loved video games as much as I did. The problem was that James's mom would never let him go to Northwest Plaza with us because she was scared something was going to happen to him. James was a couple of shades lighter than me, and he rarely traveled to the more ethnic parts of St. Louis. After weeks of convincing, James's mom let him go to Northwest Plaza with us. My brother, our friend Caesar, myself, and my homeboy James went. 3 Nubians and a Caucasian. My brother drove us to the mall. During the drive, Caesar told us about a time in which he had ridden in his friend's car's trunk and was scared for his life. I thought this was hilarious and began scheming of ways to get someone to do this. Someone like James. We had a good time playing games at Tilt, but throughout the evening, I thought about how I could get James into the trunk of the car. I continually suggested it to him, and he continually told me to go to hell. Here's a tip. Your friends do not always have your best interests at heart. Even if they like you, you'd be surprised at how many of them are willing to watch you do stupid things. Be wise enough to discern what's going on in your relationships. If you have friends who truly do not have your best interests at heart, confront them about it or consider changing your friends. Either they need a heart change or you need new people to hang out with. We left Tilt and walked back to my brother's car. After the 5th time I had suggested to James that he get in the trunk, I realized he wasn't going to do it without an incentive. We'd gone all evening without eating, and I decided to appeal to his sense of hunger. If you get in the trunk, I'll buy you dinner. Go to hell. What are you offering? I looked around and saw a McDonald's. I told James I'd buy him burgers for dinner if he'd get in the trunk. He agreed. Having heard this, my brother immediately performed a U-turn and drove to the restaurant. I bought my friend 2 double cheeseburgers and said, "Get in the trunk." Even though we were only 13 at the time, James was a big guy. He climbed in the trunk, but he couldn't fully fit. Rather than let a lack of trunk space defeat my plan, we decided to let down half the back seat and snake James's back so his head was sticking into the rear of the car. The fit was snug. Really snug. The first thing my brother did after driving away from the McDonald's was roll over a speed bump. Ah! My brother leaned back and said, "Are you okay?" "Yeah." "Good." Then my brother put the car in reverse and backed over the speed bump again. Ah! We began to drive home. My brother, Caesar, and I were having a wonderful time hearing James wail in the backseat. Apparently, being shoved into a trunk is just about as comfortable as you think it would be. Not very comfortable. We accidentally exited the highway early and began driving through a park. After a few minutes, we came upon a lit basketball court filled with Caucasians. We are not racist people, but we are racially paranoid. When there are 3 brothers rolling in a car with a white guy in the trunk, they don't end up on shows like Cops. They end up on shows like Unsolved Mysteries. We immediately turned around and got back on the highway. About 20 minutes later, we arrived at an intersection 5 minutes from our house. My brother then had a brilliant idea. He yelled, "Hey James, do you feel a draft?" And he popped the trunk of the car. Have you ever heard a guy scream like a schoolgirl because his legs were dangling in front of a Chevy? I have. Looking back, we did just about everything wrong during that trip. Please, be excellent to your friends. If you have somebody who loves and trusts you, then honor that love and trust. Use your influence to motivate them to do things to improve their lives, not manipulate them to do things for your amusement. I'm thankful that nothing bad happened that night. But seriously, don't try this at home. This has been Terrence with talesfromterrence.com. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and tell a friend. See you guys next time.